Alright, today we're going to be looking at the 93 to 02 Camaros and Firebirds. They're also known as the 4th Gen F body. These cars were pretty much what you'd call the speed demons of the 90s and 2000s. They really blew the Mustangs away. I mean, the V8s were really the badasses. What you don't know is that these cars also came in 6-cylinder formats. The early cars, the 93 through 95s, came with 3.4 V6. It's the same 3.4 liter that came in all the other snooze mobiles that GM made, you know, the Grand Prix, all that shit. They were pretty reliable engines if underpowered and got poor gas mileage. Intake gasket failure and head gasket failure was a potential, but it wasn't near as bad as on the later year models. Dex cool really played a big factor onto that. In mid-95, it became an option for the 3.8 liter, and in 96 it became standard. The 3.8 liter was much improved on power and gas mileage. These could actually come pretty damn close to taking a V8 Mustang at the time. They came with intake gasket failures were a little less common on them, but head gasket failure was a big deal on these. That was mostly because of the deck's cool, so if they were properly maintained, they're not that big a deal. The 6-cylinder cars were backed by either a 4L60E automatic transmission or the T5. With the smaller power and lighter weight of these cars, both transmissions were pretty damn solid. Now let's talk about the stump-pulling V8 cars. It started in 93 with the LT1, and it went on until 97. Now, when you tell your friends about an LT1, the conversation usually goes like this. Yeah, my dad had a LT1 in his 70 Corvette. No, that's not it. Oh, so you're talking about the new LT1, right? That 6.2 liter. That's a badass motor. No, not that one either. No. You're talking about the mid-90s LT1 that started in the 92 Corvette. Yep, that's the one. Damn, I'm sorry, man. Now, the LT1 is what happened when GM wanted to make a new motor, but really didn't want to pay for any research and development. So they took bits and pieces of the old small block and added onto it with this. It started with reverse flow cooling. Now, for the uninitiated, a typical cooling system sucks water from the bottom of the engine, it goes up, cools the cylinder walls first, and then goes on to the heads, and then it comes out and goes back into the top of the radiator. That's not what happened here. They went and cooled the heads first, then the cylinder walls, and then the bottom of the block. Now this allowed for a really strong compression ratio. It's 10.4 to 1, which is way too much for 87 octane gas. But it allowed them to use that. The problem is the oil temperatures really suffered on it. Typically, you would put an oil cooler on there to stop this from happening, but GM kind of had a deal going with Mobil 1 at the time, and they wanted to use their synthetic oil, so they bypassed that completely. Not like any owners are going to, say, hey, that shit's too damn expensive. Why don't we put in regular oil? Couldn't happen, right? So another problem with the LT1 is that they needed to meet higher emission standards, and they couldn't do it, so they ran the temperatures really hot. The fans don't even kick on these cars until 220 degrees, and they don't kick on high until 230. When you consider that hot's 260, that's bullshit is what that is. Now let's talk about the biggest fail on these motors, the OptiSpark. No doubt heard of it as it gave a lot of problems. It's a heat and water sensitive optical distributor. The last place you would want to mount this thing is under the water pump. You care to guess where they mounted it? Yeah, it's under the water pump. Water pump starts leaking, it drips water on top of it, and it trashes it. It's minimum $300, and all the aftermarket units are shit. Your symptoms on it will include stuttering, misfiring, just overall craptastic running. In 1998, they replaced that bastard LT1 with the LS1. Now, that's what I'm fucking talking about. It was an all-new design by GM. It was a fire-breathing dragon of a motor rated at 345 horsepower and 350 pound-feet of torque. Now in the Camaro it was rated at 305, but all the ponies were there. The LS1 was a more traditional design and a far better motor than the LT1 was. In 98, you'll see a little lower oil pressure, and the lifters can give trouble on them, but for the most part, if it was maintained, 200,000 miles is a pretty easy stretch for it. So the V8 transmissions are either going to be the 4L60E or the Tremec T56 6-speed. They're both pretty solid transmissions. The 4L60E can break the sunshell gear under the power of the car, but it's not typical. The T56 is a bulletproof transmission that is backed by the world's worst hydraulic clutch system. The clutch pedal is flaccid and it really doesn't release all the way. This leads to burned out synchros and grinding gears. Rebuilds don't come cheap on it either. $800 just for a synchro kit, $2,300 for a full rebuild. By far the weakest link on the V8 cars is going to be the 10-bolt rear end. The damn thing might as well be made of glass. If it's been abused, and you fucking know it has been, the chances are pretty good that you'll wind up changing it. Pop the hood on any 4th Gen F-body and you're going to be in for a shock. Are you fucking kidding me? What kind of bullshit is that? The engine's halfway under the damn dash. You ever look under your porch and see a feral cat under there glaring out at you? Just daring you to stick your hand under there and grab it? That's kind of how working on an F-body is. The end result's going to be the same too. You're going to have your ass up at the ER repairing the bloody stumps that used to be your hands. This is total fucking bullshit. I mean, look at this crap. Anything that is a standard maintenance item, they put in an impossible location. There's your coil packs. Your spark plugs, oh yeah, they're way down there. And getting to them from underneath ain't any easier. There's your evap solenoid. Oh, something easy, the fucking alternator. Now this is nice on the 3.8. The oil filter is there. Welcome to the interior of the 4th Gen. They all pretty much look like this. Pre-98 they had a little different design, but they're all going to share the same problems. Headliners do that. I don't even know what happened there. Sun visors are always flaccid or gone. The T-tops are nice, but the damn things have a tendency to leak. You can see where somebody tried to put silicone on this one. Probably still leaks. Your center console lid, you're going to be damn lucky if it locks. You got a nifty cup holder right here, which, yeah, that speaks for itself. Big problem is going to be the dash. Cap cracks, and that's what you wind up with. You can replace it with a cap itself, or you can replace the whole damn pad. Whole pad will run you $300 to $400. Cap will run you about $125. Your switches basically came like this from the factory. I have never seen one that didn't do this. Just overall bullshit plastic junk. Now I know I make these cars sound like total shit, but they're not that bad as a daily driver if you know about the problems going in. Hell, I daily drive one. That's the whole point of this video, is to educate you on the known problems. So thanks for watching, and I hope it helps.